Welcome, welcome. Happy Talkback Tuesdays. I'm your host, Stephanie Lily Smith. I am the CEO and co-founder of Creatricity, which is an entertainment tech platform that connects elite media and entertainment creatives with the best talent and crew across the U.S. I am so excited to be with you today and with my incredible guest, Cassandra Freeman. I'm going to let a few more people come into the room. But we're going to talk all things Bel Air. We're going to talk about all things Cassandra. We're going to talk about all things Creatricity. And I am so excited. You guys, it's going to be a fantastic conversation. How's everybody doing? Please let us know where you're joining from. I'd love to know where you are in the world and what your creative superpower is. If you'll drop that into the comments below. If you have any questions for us, please put those in the Q&A section. There's a little bubble at the bottom of your screen. It's the bottom right side of your screen where you can ask any questions for me or Cassandra today. And without further ado, let me bring in our beautiful guest, Miss. So happy to be with all of you today. Let's see. There she is. She's gorgeous.
Here we are.
Hello.
Here we are. Hello. I feel like it's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. It's like, and who's here today? It's Cassandra.
Yes.
I'm in the middle of like painting. Okay.
Yes.
And I thought it's so rare I have time where I actually get to paint and just the paint, right? I have a 4-year-old.
Yes.
So I said, oh, can we do both at the same time?
Yes, of course.
So I'll show you what I've started already. I just put.
Ooh, see, I'm loving the blue and gold today. I'm loving those colors.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. I don't use the black canvas very often, but it felt like a black canvas and bright colors surrounding us.
Yes. So I'm here for it. For anybody who doesn't know, I think you all know, but please tell us about who you are, where you're from, and then talk to us about a time in your life creatively where you thought all things were lost and how you bounced back from that.
Okay, so who am I? Cassie. I'm an actress, writer, producer. My hobby is to paint and karaoke, everybody. What a great question. A time where I thought all was lost as it relates to my acting career. I mean, there's always like one thought that comes to mind because I remember it was like around Christmas, maybe. It wasn't even Christmas yet. But I think to be an artist, I won't forget Kevin Bacon saying, like, you don't deserve to call yourself an artist unless you are comfortable with the not knowing of like when the next job is coming, not knowing when the next dollar is coming. But sometimes it like threads the needle to that place of, but how am I going to survive? Yeah. And I got to a point like that where like the bank account was low, I didn't know how I was going to pay rent. And of course, nobody wants to call up their parents for help. And I remember just being in the couch, like crying, being like, Lord, please, just one opportunity. And the phone rings. Actually, it's not the phone ring. I got a text message, and it was a producer saying, hey, we have this project that we'd love to see you, take for. And I remember being like, oh, these people just feel sorry for me. They can't possibly be like an opportunity. And I was like, oh, and I still got to put myself on tape, Lord. And so anyway, long story short, I put myself on tape. But when I tell you the type of courage it took to even do the tape, because I felt like such a failure. And I always think when it's time to compete for a role, you're not competing against everyone. You're competing against the people who threw their hat in the ring, and then you're competing against the people who actually feel like they might be good for the job. Because a lot of people are showing up for the audition, and they feel like a fraud, and they're not going to even give their 100. So really, you might only be competing against 10 people who are in the right frame of mind, right for the part, and actually are dedicated to the session. And so I thought, you know what? Press reset. pretend like today was the first time I ever got an audition. And,
Yeah.
and I thought if I pressed reset, then it would feel like, oh, I'm so lucky. Somebody wants to see me. And so I brought that type of energy to the audition. And then 2 days passed, of course, I ain't hear nothing. I fell right back into my couch. And the producer calls me up and she was like, listen, I just want you to know we really appreciate you putting yourself on tape. But of course, we are going to give you the role. And I get the part. And it's my first lead in anything. And I jumped up. I just jumped up and down. And I was like, oh, I'm so grateful for this lesson, dear God. And I thought I will always remember this moment of when all is lost does not mean that's how you're supposed to show up. Even during the Depression, women still showed up with their red lips and their painted holes. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
you never show up the way you think your future is going to be. You're supposed to show up the way you think your future is going to be, not the worst version of your future.
Yes. No, I love that so much. And to add to that, I also feel like when you have those moments, if you're up for a job, if you're up for this next gig or whatever the case may be, you're up against yourself. A lot of times it's getting in the frame of mind of what you're saying, the outcome that you want, and then detaching from the outcome and then letting it go. Because when you do that, when you show up in the room, you do the best that you can, you release it, you say, I'm the best for this job regardless. If I don't get it, the next opportunity is on its way to me. So yeah.
For me. Yes. Yeah. I love that thought. But sometimes it's hard to just show up.
That's right.
So it's like the baby steps up. What do I need to look like? How can I prepare the best?
Yes.
And then the rest is left to your talent.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Will you tell everybody about your experience on season 2 of Bel-Air? What has it been like for you this year?
This year it's been personally it's been really amazing to see how one balances like a full-time job like Bel-Air life and also our company Creatricity.
Yeah.
But I always feel like working on Bel-Air feels like a beautiful baptism of feeling like being totally embraced for who you are and everyone wanting you to succeed at your highest level. It feels like such a present to me at this time because I've been on so many sets where people treat me like I'm brand new.
Woo!
And people who know my career, I've been around since professionally 2005 was my first professional thing, which was Inside Man. But I've been acting since I was in 9th grade. And so I always feel like when you meet an artist, you should always speak to someone as if they're your colleague and not like they're some brand new baby, because you just don't know people's path. And so I really love that me and the cast of Bel-Air, every person who comes on, whether they're a co-star or a guest star, we give them such honor because the show doesn't work unless you have guest stars and co-stars.
That's right.
And
That's right.
and the people who come on as co-stars, sometimes they don't want to act, like they feel like they're just there to deliver words. And I always say, listen, if you are lucky enough to be on any TV show and you're a co-star, whether you got 5 lines or 2 lines, you're supposed to bring your personality and your point of view. You're not supposed to show up as a robot. And I remember there was a young lady on the show and she was like, that's what my acting teacher taught, that you're not supposed to take attention away from the stars of the show. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
You're part of the canvas. You're a part of the
stage. Why in your life you don't sit in a restaurant and not do anything, do you? If the cameras were rolling, you would be eating, you would be talking, you would be doing all the things.
This is exactly right. You're like a part of the conversation.
The story. Yes.
Honey child. So it's been nice to be able to like mentor when I can to people who come on the show, especially the young people who come on. And I remember when I auditioned for this role, that was one of the things they asked about. They were like, are you open to mentoring? And I was like, well, I was a teacher for 12 years, a college professor for 12 years at Fordham University, at Lincoln Center and other places. So I'm like, of course. And I love young people.
Yes. Your sound went out for a second, but I love that. And I think it's also one of one of the biggest reasons we started Creatricity. So I would love to, can you hear me? I cannot hear you at all. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, a little bit of technical. Okay, we're back. We're back. Awesome.
So your question.
Yes, so I would love to talk about I love what you said because it actually ties into one of the biggest reasons we created Creatricity, or we started Creatricity together. So I would love for you to talk about what your vision was initially, and we can talk a little bit about how we came together.
Yeah, I think, well, originally I started doing like Blacktress brunches, and I did the first one at my house. And I really just missed the sisterhood of being around fellow actors and actresses. And so when we all came together, it was such a love fest, and like so many amazing people were in that room. And so after that, I was like, oh, we should do this again. But when I did it again, I felt like it should be like produced at a better level. And so when I did that, so many more people wanted to show up, and I thought, oh, I need help. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I meditated, and for no real reason, I mean, other than this is why meditation is so important. Like out of the blue, Stephanie came to my mind. And before that moment, me and Stephanie never hung out. We never kikied on the phone. We only met at my friend's wedding, which is her husband's brother. And I just remember meeting her and meeting you and being like, oh, something about your energy just felt like an arrow. And I thought, if I'm a bow and she's an arrow, we could go far. But you don't know. You could be making this ish up. So I remember calling up Cornelia, being like, where you at? Yeah. Well, where's your wife at? Let's get together. And when we got together, me and you were just like, oh, it was like perfect timing for what you wanted to be up to. And ultimately, I thought, wouldn't it be great to create a place that was safe for artists to come and talk about what they needed, and also like an artist spa in terms of like filling people's cup up as an artist. And once me and Stephanie got together, we put together this great event, like almost 100 people showed up, and it was open to different ethnicities. It wasn't just for Black women at that point.
Yes.
And we both got hit with a bolt of lightning of like, this is a real need. It could be really satisfying to other people. And more importantly, if everyone knew that they were the golden key to open up somebody else's issue, we could all be so successful. But the problem is that everyone talked about how it was hard to meet the right person, and this didn't matter how successful the person is.
Right.
And the other big thing was about resources. It's like you get into these high level places in the world, but you still don't know how much you should ask for. You don't know about contract negotiation points. You don't know who the best entertainment lawyer, entertainment accountant should be. I mean, so many like basic things. And I realized it's not that you're not at the right level. It's that you're not at the right community. And community doesn't really exist. They just exist in tiny little pockets. And we thought what would happen if we brought all of the most powerful people together, and we all sort of leaned on each other, but also highlighted and amplified each other. And if we did that, all ships could rise at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was so amazing too, because I was in New York at that time.
Right.
When that happened, literally, I had just gotten finished with the job, and I didn't know what I was going to do next. I was literally at a crossroads in my career, and I had been working in development, and I had gotten laid off, and I was like, well, what am I going to do next? I want to be creative, but I also want to be my own boss. And I was like, okay, I went into meditation, and I said, okay, well, you got to have to show me, give me the cues and the signs. And then the very next day,
no,
you called me.
I did not know. The next day?
The very next day. And so I have to say, I have to give it up to the universe, because the steps were aligned and they were ordered. And when we sat down that day at we were in Brooklyn. Yes.
Dumbo House. Yeah.
And I just remember being like so filled with joy and excitement.
I remember. And I was shook, because I was ready to be denied, or ready for you to be like, oh, this is the right time, sis. But, I can recommend you to someone else.
Yeah. And at that time, it wasn't really defined yet. It was like, can you come in and help me figure out my universe?
And like your superpower is that Stephanie's got a lot of superpowers. First of all, she can see the future, and the future can be scary. You'd be like, what? My brother's Tony here. Tony, I love you. Hello, Tony.
Hi.
Oh my God. T-Free Leo 84 is my brother. Hello. That's crazy talk. I don't know what I was talking about. When we talked at Dumbo. Oh, right. The main, so when you came in, I remember, you're so right. And I was like, I don't know. There are all these projects I want to do. And I feel like Stephanie, one part is like a high level operations person where she understands the steps that you need to take to get to where you want to go. And like all these things that are happening in my life. And this is before Bel Air. Yes. You were able to take it and be like, oh, this all makes logical sense. You put this here, this here, this. And the way this woman will put together a graph in an Excel sheet, I get so excited when I see these graphs in Excel. I'm like, oh, this is doable. It's like I'm not ADD, but I've definitely jumped from thing to thing as inspiration hits. So things might not get finished at the pace that they actually could. And then also, like, you can give you like a seed of an idea, and I feel like she can really make it bloom into like the full vision. And then we both have to sit back and be like, woo, how do we climb this mountain?
We exhausted first, but how do we put this together? And I think over these last 3 years, I'm going into 4 years, it's crazy. We have built something really, really beautiful. And
and also what's crazy is that when you were pregnant, when you were finally about to give birth is the same time. I mean, what happened first? Did the baby come out yet? No, you were still in the wait. But you were in the hospital bed, ready to push that baby out when I told you about
about Bel Air. Yes. That's
and I was like, what's happening? Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you got contractions. Okay.
I remember because were you in Greece?
Yeah, I was in Greece at that point.
Yeah, so you did the self-tape. You had a conversation, and they were like, we want you.
Girl, it was crazy. Yeah, my manager is the one my agent at the time are the ones who actually called me up, but it was like 3 o'clock in the morning in Greece, so it was much earlier at your time. But it's just so crazy that the same time you were about to give birth, same time Aunt Viv sort of happened. I remember being like, how the hell are we going to do Bel Air, Creatricity, and a brand new baby? So I feel like part of the reason Creatricity, we've been really trying to do things at our pace and not at the rate of capitalism, because we're both mothers and we both have visions, but we also have a great support group of founding members who are helping us take, one step at a time so we can fulfill where we're trying to get to, which is ultimately trying to create like an IMDb space, but that's connected to a LinkedIn sort of idea. So if you are a vetted, official person of the media entertainment industry, wouldn't it be great to click into a world where whatever you're looking for, it could be there? So you're looking for a producer, boom. If you're in Atlanta looking for someone to do your hair, boom, you should be able to find. If you're going off to Sundance and need housing, boom. If you're looking for recommendations of people to just clean your house, boom. Like, it's basically us vetting a world. So it's sort of like, me saying it like that also makes me feel like it's like a touch of Yelp as well.
Yes, that's right.
It helps us sort of narrow down who are the great people to work with.
And if that's you and you're watching, you can go to our website, creatricity.io, and you can join the wait list. We're getting ready to do some really amazing, fun things, and we're going to be launching an app really, really soon. So get on the wait list. Tell us who you are. We cannot wait to get to know who you are. What else should we have some questions here. Let's see. Oh, this is a great one. How do you prioritize your time around multiple ventures?
Well, that'd be hard. Well, what I think what I've been doing at least is I think about what's the most important thing. And so I prioritize like what's the most important thing. So while I'm shooting Bel Air has to be the most important, right?
That's right.
Because Bel Air is my main source of income. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do that first, okay? And then after that, it's like as soon as I leave Bel Air and I'm in my car, then I have to reprocess what's the next most important thing. Because I really try not to multitask while I'm on set. It's so hard to go back and forth. It's like double dutching. And unless I have like a long lunch, which never really happens, actually during lunch, I might not even eat. I'll get my food, I'll meditate, lie horizontally to try to get more energy because our days can be up to 12 to 14 hours long. So I actually try to get as much energy as possible because when the day's over with, then I want to see my son and be exuberant and happy to be with him and play games with him. My son is 4. And then once that's done, then Stephanie and our team who we work with, everyone's really gracious about being like, let us know when you can do X, Y, Z, or just give us a thumbs up if you can do X, Y, Z. And then I have a personal assistant who sort of fills in things. And that was really hard for me to bring in a personal assistant. But it's helped.
I'm so proud of you for doing that. I'm so proud of you.
Hard. It felt like such a value issue. And I just heard Shonda Rhimes say something recently about, you're allowed to brag. She says it much more eloquently than me because she's Shonda Rhimes. But she says something to the extent of like, women have to feel more comfortable bragging, but ultimately to take up the space that's needed. And if I have like a big vision, it's going to be impossible to do it on my own. So we've been lucky, me and Stephanie, of finding people who are excited about our vision and who step in and sort of pick up the slack when we can't do everything.
Yes,
right?
We also have some really amazing mentors that have come alongside us and helped guide us in building a business. Neither of us have ever done this before. And so we have people who talk to us about marketing. We have people who come in and talk to us about operations. We have people who come in and talk to us about just the business of being in business. And we also both listen to a lot of really great podcasts that help us to fortify our mind, keep us sharp, and to motivate us as well.
That's exactly right. And like we have to give a shout out to we have a brilliant person who heads up our marketing team, Naila
Baker. She is incredible. Her company is called Piece to the Puzzle. She does marketing. She does strategy. She does social media. If you need help with that, she has a whole team that helps her out as well. And you can find her on Instagram. I will share that in the stories later. So be looking out for her. I also really would love to shout out Lisa
Fetterman.
Lisa Fetterman. She is kind of like our business coach, and she's wonderful.
Oh my goodness. And Lisa is the kind of person who will come in and we'll be like, how are we gonna but I think one of the things that Lisa has really helped solidify for me is that you can make the best out of what you don't have.
Yes.
Like having what's the word, restrictions, having sort of like restrictions, like the things that you can't do actually can help you become more creative. You can't sit back and think, oh, well, this would be easy if we had like $2-3 million. It's like, actually, no, you can dig in deep because you've got these people at your disposal, or you have this talent at your disposal, and then you get to lean into it. And I think about some of the best movies, independent movies, anything, fashion, it all starts off with what are the raw materials that you have now that you can make the best out of it.
Yes.
And I love that she's always like, no, lean into that. And she was the main one when Bel Air happened. She's like, Cassie, no, you lean in and go do Bel Air. She's like, not feel like you have to like do this and that. She's like, pick one thing and then your son, then come back to Creatricity. She's like, I promise you. And she's been right, because it's been 3 years and no one else has really like filled in this spot in the way we have. And she was like, McDonald's isn't sitting around thinking we got to close shop because Burger King is here and Shake Shack is here. And I was like, you're so right, but it do feel claustrophobic. And it does feel like you want to run and get things done, but that's not in a reality. And also the humility of, you think you create something that's like just such a no-brainer, but you have to constantly educate people what the thing is over and over again. So it's really sort of like opened up why marketing exists in the way it does, why do commercials exist.
Yes.
Because people have to be educated on what you're offering to see if it's a match for what they need.
Yeah, and to add to that, I feel like we've also created something that has never existed in our industry. And so it is a lot of, okay, you're welcome to share what you're doing. You're welcome to tell us what you're up to. We've been in such silos where we're hiding behind things. We're not sharing information. And Creatricity is a place where you can share whatever it is that you're up to. You can find whatever resource you need, and you can do it with people who aren't assholes and who are cheering you on every step of the way.
Right. And maybe it could be exciting to work with people outside of your bubble. I mean, I was thinking last night how I want to come up with a new word for diversity,
Yes.
because it sounds like diversity excludes our friends who are, white, who are Caucasian,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, it includes them too. Like, everyone is included. Originally, that was going to be the name of Creatricity, was
Yeah.
included. We were like, I had this idea of like batteries included,
Yes.
and instead it's like color is included.
Yeah.
So you're included and all the colors are included. But if anyone got a better word for like what's the manifestation of like everyone is welcome at the table, but like a succinct word, what is it?
That? Creatricity. Ah!
Creatricity. Yeah, I mean, that's what what's it? Because ultimately what we want is integration.
Yes.
And right now it's like you either work on a Black show, you work on a white show, you work on a Black movie, you work on a white. It's like, no, you need everybody to come to the table with their backgrounds and experiences to make content and the programs we're making expansive and ultimately an artistic expression. Right?
Yeah. That's exactly right. I am Jessica asks, what is your spark of joy right now? I love this question.
Oh, what's my spark of joy? Oh, what's my spark of joy? Well, I mean, right now, just be present, and painting with my girlfriend is giving me a spark of joy. In general, I think this week, I'm away from my family for the past week and a half. I live in Brooklyn, and right now I'm in California, here in Los Angeles, doing press. But every time I start to miss my family, I mean, I go home in a few days, but every time I miss my family, I keep thinking about how I'm allowed to frame this time when I have downtime. Like today I have downtime, and I think to myself, I'm on vacation mode. I said, right now, this is my time for vacation. Like, do the things that you do on a vacation. And I've been really reframing, why do you have to like go to an exotic place to enjoy peace of mind? Like, you can create peace of mind in whatever time like right where you are. So every time I've had downtime being here without all the noise, it's been nice to just be like, oh, I'm on vacation time. There's nothing to feel guilty about. And I think that's really hard for artists. I remember I heard Whoopi Goldberg say it took her a long time to feel comfortable when she had downtime, because in capitalism, it's like you got to keep working. If you're not working, you're a failure. And then she said, no, part of the reason, like, to be an artist is so hard because we jump from job to job, not knowing where the next one is. But part of the benefit is that if you're lucky enough to have jobs, then you should be lucky enough to get the benefit of the downtime that can come with it too.
Yes. Yeah. I think the self-care, that's also something that's infused into our culture at Creatricity as well, is keeping yourself whole and well in mind, body, spirit, emotionally, all of those things, because it's hard to do that, especially when you're multitasking, when you're a mom, when you're an actress, when you are an entrepreneur, when you are a wife, when you are trying to make sure that all the things and finding balance to that, when as a mom, especially, we have the mom guilt. Why are, I'm away from my son. Oh my God. Like, what am I going to
Listen,
you have
when you be preaching to me, it'd be like, Cassie, you are like, and my husband too. My husband was like, you go and enjoy your life. Go enjoy. We are going to be fine. There is some hormone that gets dropped. I was talking to Susan Watson last night, and I was in an interview, and they were like, oh, what's next? And she was like, oh, we got to stop this culture of what's next, what's next. How about what's present? Like, that question that woman asked is so great. Like, what's giving you joy right now?
Yes.
What's giving you peace right now? But what's next makes it sound like what's now is not enough.
Come on. That is so specific. You can live as you are excited about the future, but if you miss the present moment, you're not living.
Girl, I think our culture is all about making sure people don't get to live in the present moment.
That's right. That's right. We're always like, what's the next thing? How do I look better? How do I do this? How do I do that? And not appreciating themselves for where they are or who you are right now.
Listen,
and the work that you've done to get yourself to this place.
That's why I love the nap ministry. I love that go lay down somewhere Stop rushing people to jump to the next job.
Yes.
Like the breast ministry is doing some work over there. It's radical and revolutionary in capitalism to tell anybody to just rest.
Go sit down somewhere for a moment, even 5 minutes to breathe with yourself. Yeah, that's right.
I love it. Someone's like, mom guilt is real and can be a wall that needs to be broken through. Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm sure that hormone that comes in for mom guilt is for the survival of the species. I always have a joke saying if men were the ones who took care of the kids, it would be normal that most of us have like one eye and one arm walking around here. Because women spend so much time. They talk about how, you know, the mom's brains change once they have a kid. And girl, I know that's the truth. But again, I think in community is what gives me sort of peace of mind to know, like, I'm not the only one who feels that way. And you taking time off is actually for the betterment of your whole family. Because when I go back, I'll get to feel renewed. My husband will be like, oh, she's so happy and refreshed. Even though I'm doing work, it's like, oh, thank you. I'm lucky to have a supportive husband who's like, no, you can go live a good life too. Because when my husband is away from the house, he does all the things. He will go eat with the friends, drink with the friends, go off, do this activity, do that. And not once is he like, oh, am I missing things? Not, never, never.
That's right. You know, it is so important. And I think that's definitely why they baked it into the culture here at Creatricity. Another really beautiful question here. What legacy do you wish to leave for the world? She says she's your biggest fan, per.
Oh, her. Type. I love that. Okay. What's the legacy? I mean, I pray that when my son is an adult, that he talks about how, you know, I made him feel loved and seen, and he felt like he could be fully self-expressed, and that he was inspired by his mom. And because of that, the way he loves the women in his life and the way he taught his friends to love the women in his life was about liberation and about creativity. And I just hope that the way I raise my son helps affect the way other people raise their sons as well and who they are. And I've had women come up to me to see how I am with him and how my life is. And they feel like a sense of like, oh, we're allowed to be this way. And my mom is an entrepreneur. She owned a nursing home for 40 years, sometimes multiple nursing homes. And I never grew up thinking, oh, she should be home right now. Where's this woman? Yeah. It made me grow up thinking, oh, I'm allowed to just own things.
Yes.
I'm allowed to be a boss in things. And I'm still allowed to have kids and a husband and a home. I hope that's one of my legacies. And I hope maybe another legacy is that, you know, it is, I think this is happening already, but I hope people know that it's wonderful to not fit into the status quo. Like, it's great to be different. It's great to be multi-hyphens. Yeah. It's great to not fit people's expectation. All that kind of stuff. But to think about legacy, what is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see.
Come on. Or you might get to see pieces of it show up in other people. You know, you might have said something to somebody you never meet, and it gets watered by somebody else and gets to sprout and blossom. And that is the gift of being present and being able to share your story and have a platform and and do what it is that inspires you.
Also, our legacy, a part of it will be this company. Yes. That people like get to feel mentally safe and well. And just innovating the way that we get to come together, collaborate, and to communicate.
D-Smoke is in the house. Welcome, sir. Thank you for being here today. We're so happy to see
D-Smoke?
D-Smoke, yes.
Oh, we love, and look, D-Smoke out here acting.
Yes.
Okay? He's doing the dang thing. I'm so not surprised. You know, I was thinking too about how we're all natural born artists, and most of us are multi-hyphenate artists.
Yes.
And so people like D Smoke who dare enough to be like, I actually want to do this thing too and do this thing. And I think also culturally, what's up there, also culturally within us as people from indigenous, whether you're Cuban, Puerto Rican,
Right.
like it is in us to be creative. And so anywhere you can get that creativity out, know that mental health will follow through. Like you need to dance, you need to do the spoken word, you need to paint. The only reason I started painting is that I just felt this deep need of, I needed to see color. Like it sounds so crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just needed to see color. And became obsessed with this color. This pink color is called Rosado. So I can't even see because paint's covered it up now. It's like you can't find a painting in my house probably that doesn't have this extreme pink. And I might calm it down with some titanium white to bring it back down. But I was just like, where is the color in my life?
Yes.
And so it became color therapy for me. And then I started to explore like different ways to get involved with painting. And I'm doing something this weekend with a very like famous, beautiful visual artist.
Yes.
I'm gonna start this thing and we'll see what people think. But I'm just doing it for me. And basically I want to go meet like some of my favorite artists and like just sit next to them as they talk about their life and really understand like the mind of a visual artist and maybe see, is it like, what's the word? Like, is it catchy? Like, can you catch
the anointing?
Can you catch the anointment? And it's so then be like, what? So I'm gonna be with this artist this week named Helene Flowers, and Bel Air is a big theme in his work. It feels like Basquiat, it feels like hip hop, it feels like jazz. His work is so beautifully expansive, and he's an artist in residence at the Bossy House. And I'm gonna go there and film us and film him really painting and see like how that inspires how I paint, and to see like, will he give advice in my work? I don't know.
It's gonna be so exciting. I can't wait to see what comes out of that. I also I lean into salsa dance. So I'm obsessed. I don't know if you know this, Cassie. I'm obsessed with salsa dancing, and
this makes so much sense to me.
Yes, I felt like I was born Latina in another lifetime because,
well, there's a lot of Latin in the Black.
You're right. You're right. I cannot get enough. Like going to a salsa club was probably one of the most classy experiences that I ever had, because it wasn't like going to a regular club where guys were just gonna like try and like pump it up, and I was gonna leave feeling violated, or whatever the case may be. Like every time I go salsa dancing, someone will come up to me, ask me if I would like to dance, bring me onto the dance floor. We'll dance. It's amazing. The music's going, and then they'll say thank you and take you back to where they found you.
What?
Like, where do they do that?
A goddamn gentleman.
It's like a gentleman. It is so amazing. It's so amazing. And even if if I saw somebody I want to go dance with, I would just go ask them. They'd be like, yes. And then we walk to the dance floor, and then it is just electric. And I absolutely love it. It's one of the things that brings me joy when I'm not doing my creative things.
I had no idea. I'm totally, talking about a place I need to be fully self-expressive. It is dance, because I get scared. I'm like, oh, but salsa, yeah, it's so empowering. Dr. Renita, that's what she's saying.
Yes. Renita and I actually grew up singing together. So she's family. We grew up singing together. Hey, sis. We have a couple of more questions, and I want to land the plane.
Okay.
But this is a great one. What kind of stories excite you as a storyteller?
Oh, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Brandon Rashal.
It's so funny. I have these acrylic cray pods, but because of Halim and Basquiat, I'm like, that's how they draw it. It's like acrylic cray. Anyway, anybody who knows me knows that comedy is the thing out here. Is that the question? What's something that I want to do?
What stories excite you as a storyteller?
Oh, right. Stories in general that excite me are characters who are like very Gemini-esque. Like
Like
they
me.
turn well, yeah, but the negative part of it, which is I love it when people have two sides and you get to see how, complicated people are. So like one of my favorite roles is that Atlanta episode, that Juneteenth episode, because she's just like this at one point, being like, this is my house with many, many bathrooms. But then she could be on the back. She's like, girl, that nigga he told my grandmama how to cook greens. It's like, I love sort of those two faces. And I think it's just like, I don't know, something about it to me is like a magic trick. And I also just feel like that's the truth of so many of us. And I love seeing the underbelly of what's happening in people's lives and like, what's this facade? I love, RuPaul has a great quote and saying like, life is drag. We're all in drag. Yeah. We're all trying to present some type of version of ourselves to cover up something. And I think it's so true. Anyone who's an artist knows that life is full of duality.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I would just love to thank you, my sister, for joining me today. And all of you for joining us for this incredible conversation. And before we go, Cassie, will you show us what you have over there?
Oh my goodness, I ain't finished over here.
I know, but we just want a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. Okay, let's see what we got cooking over here. We shall continue because I got other ideas. Okay, let's see. There's a switcheroo here.
My gosh, it's amazing.
It's close to being something. It's close.
You guys,
but your eyes, something about your eyes, I was like, I don't know. So we'll see.
This. It's amazing. You see what You see what creativity can do? We're just talking and you're just sitting there like brushing. You guys, this woman is so incredible. She's my sister. If you don't know about Creatricity, please go to our website, creatricity.io. If you're a creative, sign up for the wait list. We will be sharing some very fun information coming up really soon. I want to thank you again for joining me and my beautiful guest. And please remember that whatever is for you will never miss you. And I'll see you real soon.
Period. Bye.
Bye.